He said the customer should not be your quality assurance department. That action, that setup on that guitar hides some sin. Right now, some of you guys are going to have epiphanies. A lot of you guys all know this because you're watching videos, but some of you are literally going to have an epiphany right now. You got it out of the box, you play it plays great, you like it, you're busy, you wait past the return policy, and then you get one day, you get a weekend off and you decide, I'm going to restring this thing. You restring it, you lower your action a little bit, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, there's like 6 bad notes.
The Know Your Gear podcast.
Clan House Cat says, hey, is the Samek Indonesian factory as good as the Cortec? You know, I don't even know if the Samek Indonesian factory still exists. I think they all went to China. It's possible. So according to this, there still is a factory, a PT Samek factory in Indonesia that makes guitars. But there's no information about it. So I don't know. But on that note, the question, what is it? Is the Samek Indonesian factory as good as the Cortec? I'm going to say, I mean, there's no way to tell for sure, right? But since we can't tell for factually, I can't say because I have no comparison to compare and contrast the two. I will tell you what Cortec is doing is pretty unique as a factory in the world compared to other factories. And that doesn't make it the best by any means. But what it does do is very unique. And what I mean by that is how they constructed it, how they built it with the multiple buildings and how they've kind of made different layers of quality levels and all that stuff. That's why I wanted to do that video. So it is very unique. But I mean, ultimately, I've said this before, when it comes to, I don't want to put the focus on the factories. I don't really believe that's where you actually see and you detect quality. I've built in I didn't know this was going to happen, but I built a value to companies. This not to my channel, me. I have done so much consulting for companies now, and it's something I've just actually we're trying to not even focus on doing anymore. But the main reason is not because I was a repair tech or I had a store or I'm a YouTuber or whatever. It's because you can't take apart as many guitars as I've taken apart and document as much as I've documented and not be able to answer a question now. Like you guys, think about what you guys know, okay? I want you to just think about this for a second. Watching the deep dives, what do you guys know? Pretty much everybody's shipping the guitar with 2 millimeters off the 12 fret action. Okay, that industry did not come together and decide that. There wasn't a meeting. I want you to know something. There was never, ever, ever once a meeting where Gibson and Fender and Ibanez and Sire and Taylor and, all these companies got together and go, here's how we're going to set up all guitars going forward. And it wasn't because guitar players like this action, because that's not the action you guys like. In fact, most people in the comments, number one comment when I say, oh, the action is about 2 millimeters on 12 fret, the number one comment across all videos is, that's too high. Most of you are saying you want it lower. And so the question is, why did they all establish this number when they didn't agree to it? Obviously, they didn't come together to agree to it. And why is it something you guys don't want? And the answer, I had to know. So I answered it. I went to 36 factories. And the answer is, that's what gets through quality assurance. See, they need the guitar to ship. They need you to be able to strum it out of the box. Paul Reed Smith Paul Smith's notorious for saying a thing that's obvious. When I say obvious, he sounds like he's a smart guy, right? Watch his TED Talk. I like it. It's one of my favorite TED Talks. Both of them, by the way. But the point is, he says a lot of things, not besides this crazy unicorn stuff. He says a lot of things that are just, no shit Sherlocks. Like, PRS guitar out of the box, you can play it. Every guitar out of the box should be playable. That's not a thing he thought of. Paul Reed Smith did not go, I have a great idea. Check this out. What if when the guitar is finished at the factory, somebody could play it? And they probably sat around and going, it's ingenious. I've played every guitar at Guitar Center. None of them were playable. Not one. You can't pick up a single guitar and play it. It's just not possible. And he's like, what if they were all playable? And you're like, every single one of them? A guitar playable? It's like, imagine if Paul Reed Smith worked at KitchenAid. He's like, what if all the mixers, when you hit the switch, turned on? They'd be, Jesus Christ, what are you asking us to do here? That's insane. You can't have all the mixers work. right? So anyways, my point is, besides being a sarcastic ass, is all the manufacturers want the guitars out of the box playable, but then you have to define what does that mean? And what it means is whatever doesn't get sent back. That's what they're trying not to do. Think of all the elements that have happened in the last few years. And I've had a very unique situation where I was able to see a lot of it, and I'm really happy. And now a lot of that is because of you guys, and I want to thank you for that. So you have Sweetwater doing 55-point inspections. You can think whatever you want about the inspections. Watch my video. It explains why the defect rate is what it is. Like I said, I always defend the 55-point inspection because everybody always says, I got a bad guitar. And remember, the only reason I know about the 55-point inspection is because I did get a bad guitar from them. But the point I'm making is on that, and this is all going to come together, is they ship 1,000 guitars a day, and if they have a 1% error rate, 10 people are getting a bad guitar today. So when 10 people say, oh, I had a bad guitar, I'm like, yeah, that's not scary to me. That's really good, actually. It sucks that it happened to you because it's happened to me as well. But the fact that 990 guitars got out doing well, that's great, right? So what would be concerning is if half the guitars were defective. And we know half the guitars are not defective. And you know why we know? Because when you go on Sweetwater's website, there's not half their guitars are available as B stocks. You're right. So here's where it gets important. So you have somebody like Sweetwater and they're checking all the guitars, okay? And when they're bad, they kind of make adjustments and fix them. And they're really bad, they send them back. And ultimately, the manufacturers don't want to get the guitars back. So they have to figure out how do you get them to go through. And what I've kind of experienced is this. They set that action because I've gotten a couple people ask this and I've answered every single one of you guys. You go, hey, Phil, when you check the action and it says 2 millimeters, and then you check the notes and there's no dead frets. If you lower the action, will there be dead frets? Maybe, which is why we check so many things. That's why I'm checking certain things. Yes, and sometimes if I think there's a problem, I make adjustments. I'll lower the action in a video. You'll see me do it. And I'll go, because I want to see if there's any dead frets. See, I figured out that most of the factories have figured out that that action, that setup on that guitar, that particular setup, hides some sin, right? In other words, you could get it out of the box, strum and play it. And think about this. Right now, some of you guys are going to have epiphanies. A lot of you guys all know this because you're watching videos, but some of you are literally going to have an epiphany right now. You got it out of the box, you play it, plays great, you like it, you're busy, you got stuff going on, you don't set it up, you don't change the strings, you don't do any of that stuff. You wait past the return policy, and then you get a weekend off, and you decide, I'm going to restring this thing. You restring it, you lower your action a little bit, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, there's like 6 bad notes, and these are dead frets. What's going on here? What happened? The guitar has moved. Something's happened. Nope, it was always like that, because the way you're going to find them sometimes is by lowering the action. I want you to know with full confidence, the reason why we do the detailed sheets is I do way more than what you see in the videos. That's why I do the detailed sheets, so that you can believe me that I did these extra steps. After I do a video, the patrons specifically can tell you this is true. I then go through a rigorous point where I give them the video and tell me to find the flaws or the issues. And then also I go and test my own stuff, and I come back and I make sure that you guys are still getting a full story. Again, edited because I'm making entertainment. I'm not making a 2-hour video on a guitar. None of you would watch it and the channel would die. And then what good would that do any of us? So I'm trying to give you the best information, but also make something entertaining. The point of the story is what I'm basically getting back to, which is they've all come to that conclusion because that's what works. That's what sells a guitar. That action, that setup, that way. And so what's interesting about that all is that back to what I'm talking about, when companies reach out and they ask me a question, you can understand I can actually give them really good information. Sometimes they're asking me a question. I'm like, oh, this is why yours is doing that. Because I've seen your 15 competitors and they have all got the same problem as you. So what's interesting about that is as I've done this over the years, and we'll probably not do any more of these, okay? Not for any particular bad reason, just for time purposes. But so it was getting a little tough. I was getting commissioned by some companies to do deep dives without actually making the video. So I did make the video, but it went to them only. They just wanted me to dissect the guitar, almost like I was going to be their external quality assurance. It's almost like having an external audit. They wanted somebody to external audit the guitar. In fact, I just did it recently for another company, and I might have saved them a lot of money and headache because I found an issue and they were super thankful. They're like, I was pretty upset. I thought they're going to be mad at me, and they were like, we're so glad you found that issue. That was what we're nervous about. We're going to fix it. I'm like, great. So this is why this all ties together. So back to the factories like Cort and stuff, what you're noticing is that, and that's what I'm basically going to tell you is nobody can make a perfect guitar. It's not possible. Not all the time. First of all, you can't make a perfect guitar at all. Second thing is you can't even consistently make a guitar that's not just slightly above average. That's just, or whatever, right? You're going to have a guitar that's average and then something better, slightly above average. The point is, especially with import guitars, the question is, how does Cort, how do those companies ensure that you get a good guitar? They don't. The manufacturer, PRS, Fender, Squier, Epiphone, which isn't Cort, they ensure we get quality guitars because they filter them. They go through them. And I've told you guys this before. When somebody says, well, is this factory good? Is this factory good? And I'm like, well, I went to visit them and this is what I showed you guys, what I saw, and this was good, this was bad. But ultimately, that doesn't dictate whether or not you get a good guitar. You get a good guitar if Sweetwater catches it. You get a good guitar if, let's use PRS SE. You only get a good PRS SE if all of these things absolutely happen. Cort make a great guitar. They catch the defective guitar, so they sent a good guitar. PRS gets the guitar, and if they catch the bad guitars, and then they send out the good guitars to Sweetwater. I'm using Sweetwater in this analogy. And then Sweetwater gets the good guitars, and then they catch all the bad guitars, and then they ship you the good guitars. The only way to guarantee you get the good guitar is if everyone's filtering along the line. That's how you get a good guitar. Not that they made a perfect guitar. See, that's the I don't want to say that's the lie. It's not the lie. The argument is, in this question, which is why I liked it, is Samick as good as Cort? Look, I believe Cort's filtering really well. I believe they're doing stuff that's a little unique. But again, the only way to guarantee you're getting a guitar is if somebody along the line is catching the bad ones and only letting the good ones out. And the best statement I ever heard was actually from the person I was kind of making fun of a minute ago, which is Paul Reed Smith. And he said, the customer, trying to remember this, it was 2009 when he said this. He said, the customer should not be your quality assurance department. They should not be the ones finding the problem. He said that. I got chills just now. I thought it was a great saying. I hope to God he'll continue to always be like that in some way, because I always thought that was the best saying ever. At that time, 2009, I was a dealer for PRS, and when I heard him say that, I thought that made me feel really good about the brand. Yes, I don't want to be the quality assurance department. You don't want to be the quality assurance department. They're supposed to do it. So that's how you get a good guitar, so somebody filters it and catches it. If you like this podcast clip, you can watch the full episode by clicking here, or you can watch another video if you want to click here. And as always, I want to thank you for your time. Until the next time, know your gear.